everybody, how's it going? My name is Melissa, and this is my channel Geeky Witch about all things cross-stitch in my life. Welcome to the new year. Happy New Year, everybody. Can you believe it's 2025 already? I'm like, my brain is not processing this for a variety of reasons, and I'll get into some of those. It's been a while since I've been able to film, and I apologize. I've been trying to get to this. The last time I was with you, it was in November before I went to stitching at the farm. And when I got back, there was Thanksgiving, and then my husband and my son got sick, and then I got sick, and then I had no voice for like 3.5 weeks of December, including Christmas. It was awesome. I really only got it back like last weekend. I have no idea what the heck was going on. So I just haven't been able to film because I couldn't talk, which, some people might say is probably a good thing. But here we are, and it's the new year, and there's a lot to talk about, and yeah. So today, it's January 5th, 2025. No, it's the 4th. I don't even know what day it is. January 4th, 2025, because it's Saturday. I have the house to myself for a little bit, so I'm going to get this video in. Today I'm going to talk to you about, I'm looking at my pile here, I'm going to talk to you about how I organize my stitching, not like my stash, which, if you can see behind me, is a disaster and a half, although I'll allude to a little bit of that. I'm talking about the tracking of my stitching, because I have a ton of whips. I love having a lot of whips going at any time, because then I can stitch according to my mood or my energy level or whatever. And I have some pieces that I only stitch on at certain times, and then there's some pieces that I just go crazy with whenever. And there are some pieces that are in a very long timeout, either in the case of like Teresa Wensler, where I have so many of them going that it's kind of crazy, and I really just need to focus on one or two of them. Or they're ones that I've adopted through friends or through stash tables or offloads, whatever, that I haven't stitched on, whatever. So there's a lot going on in this house. I do keep a planner for my stitching. That is in addition to my normal day-to-day planner, which I keep separate specifically because I work in an industry in insurance where if something happens, my planner could be discoverable if, God forbid, there was ever anything that went horribly wrong, and I don't want to lose my stitching progress, so I keep it separate. The rest of the stuff I could, recreate if I needed to, but the stitching stuff I just want to keep separate. It doesn't need to go with work-related stuff. So I have my daily life planner, which is a Hobonichi, which this is my 2025 one. Isn't it cute? And, it has like monthly, weekly, dailies. There's tons of people who do Hobonichi stuff, but because I have stuff that I need to keep confidential, I'm not going to go page by page. You'll find plenty of that on YouTube about Hobonichis. This year, I'm kind of playing with 2 stitch planners to see what works for me, what doesn't, because I've been bouncing around between different things, and last year I tried to do it all on my own, and I fell off the wagon and I didn't keep track of my stitching. So I'm kind of in a rebuilding year, and since it is I'm going to stitch all the things year, it made sense to do this year. So I am running the Black Needle Society's planner for 2025. That one, I'm keeping most of the detail of what I'm working on. But I'm also using, I really like some of the inserts from the 24 Hours of Cross Stitch Planner. So I've got that kind of going too, but not in as much detail as I am with the Black Needle Society one. The Black Needle Society one's a little more portable than the other one is. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you how I keep track of all of the pieces that I have going. I'm going to show you what I've been working on, new starts, and Whip Go for January, which is a lot. This might be a long video. I'm sorry. I try to keep them at about a half an hour, but this one might go long. So let's get started. All right, planning. So I keep, this year I'm going to grab stuff here. I am using, this is the Black Needle Society Journal Planner for 2025. As of this morning, they still have some of these on their website available. But I don't know how many they have, so since they're hard copy, if you want one, you might want to pop and get them pretty soon. This is a wire-bound planner. It's about, I want to say it's about 7 by 9 inches, so bigger than an A5 for those of you who are international. My normal planner for international folks, this is an A5, so it's, here, I don't need the writing board there. It's just a little bit bigger than an A5. For those of you who are in the US who don't work on the international paper things, A5 is roughly a half letter page. So 5.5 by 8. So yeah, a little bit bigger. Nicely bound, wire bound, pretty thick paper. I have not tried to use my fountain pens in it yet. I'm a little worried about that, so I may just stick to gel pens. And it does have, you know, different stitching challenges, calendars, whatnot. I've gotten some of my, like the starting challenge and other stuff I'd like to start is in there already. And as you can see, I'm insane. I haven't filled out a ton yet, but like I have my January set up with some of the goals I want to do, stitching challenges and dates I need to pay attention to. My own themes like Sampler Sunday, that's going to just be my working theme for the year because I have a lot of samplers and I want to make progress on my samplers. A lot of that reads and they sinned. But so this is where I'm keeping my progress. And this is where I'm keeping the daily mess. So I have, this is what I haven't filled in Thursday and Friday, but I know what I did. So the top row is my day-by-day stitching. Since I'm doing some things that involve stitch counts, I do have my total for the day written here and what I worked on. The center one is events and things I just need to be aware of. So like my Tudor Rose meetings here, New Year's Day starts of the Semi-Sane Stitchers events. Frogworks went on sale for those of us who attended last year, yesterday at 11 a.m. my time, Eastern time. They're going to go on a sale for the general public, I think, tomorrow at 10 Central, 11 Eastern, roughly. So if you want to go to Frogworks, hop on Black Needle tomorrow. Stuff on the bottom is my general goals for FlossTube, my blog, organization, you know, like social media stuff. This has already kind of gone crazy this week and I haven't stuck to it, but that's my general thing. The highlight colors, I'm trying to pretend that I can highlight, but I really can't. But yeah. So that's going to be the day-to-day stitching log. And and then again, I will play with some of the challenges they have in here. But really, the thing I'm focused on for this is the calendar and the weekly log. A lot of the other stuff may not get filled out. I don't know yet. But there you go. So that's the actual planner. Then 24 hours of cross stitch always puts one out, and I've used it off and on since I think the first year they did it. Last year I didn't. I kind of fell off, and I was like, no, I'm going to do my own thing, and that did not work well. I need someone else to set this stuff up for me. So I have this in just a Happy Planner ring set that I picked off of the clearance table at Joann's. I just took out the inserts. This one was just a notebook, which is kind of handy because then I have note pages that I can stick right back in here. But got a cover that I liked, and then printed everything out. Ooh, color. Very nice. Yes. This one, for the most part, I'm using, I do keep my running list of tasks I want to do during the year, and this is ongoing. So I have my all year to-do list of stuff that I know I'm going to want to accomplish. There is a daily stitch tracker, which I've put all of one day in so far. What is with my focus? But that will continue. They are doing a choose your own adventure this year, which I think is kind of fun, and I'll be tying in my stitching with that. And then this is where, and it goes year to year, of where I have a list of all my whips, what they're on, what the start date was. So as you can see, I have everything written down. And the nice thing about it being in one of these Happy Planner style disc things is I can just transfer it, and I don't have to rewrite it every year. I did this year only because there were a lot of changes last year and additions and reorganizes, so this is a fresh list. But I can transfer this year to year without having to rewrite it. So there are a lot of whips. Roughly here starts what I call my legacy whips, and I adopted that name from my friend Amy. And she has her definition of whips like before a certain date that she started them. And mine is similar. I consider legacy whips anything that I started before I became pregnant with my son, so early 2012s and earlier, because a lot of things, of course, just fell off the wagon when I had a baby. I just couldn't stitch because I was too tired, too busy, too emotionally overwhelmed. That first 2 years was a little rough. So things kind of just fell off the ledge. So stuff that, it could be stuff that I'm actually working on, but stuff that's before that is a legacy whip. Stuff, again, like I said, my overabundance of Wenslers, stuff that I've adopted that I've personally never put a stitch in is a legacy whip. They're things that I will get to eventually, but they're not active. I haven't been working on them, or they're kind of just sitting in the background right now. A lot of people might call those an unfinished object, but everything I'm working on is an unfinished object. So I don't use that term because for me, an unfinished object really is everything, because I stitch on a bunch of stuff and slowly, and I'm on no time schedule on them. So UFO, unfinished object, means nothing in my world. Okay, so anyway, I have another page for whips, only because as I've been cleaning through stuff, I found a few things that I've like adopted from my friends that have passed away. Uh, there may be things that pop up, so I just gave myself an extra page just in case. Um, then I got this planner before I got the black needle one, so I started working on new starts that I wanted to do, that I had kitted up already in my stash. Um, so I had a general sense of stuff that's ready to go. The list is a little different than what's in the black needle book, but so I have new starts. Come on, focus. There we go. And there's a full page front and back of those, and then I have others if I start more this year, which I possibly will. I also in here keep tracks of stitch alongs that I'm in, so like the water garden one, the fox and rabbit cloister garden, which started this week, that I have not stitched on yet, but just stuff that, you know, that I want to keep track of. I have retreat organizing pages. There's multi-release stitch along pages in here. And then my monthly pages, I really haven't filled out as much. I kind of just started things. Yeah, you can see that big 50. There's a reason for that. That would be my birthday next week, and I will be a half century old. And I'm horrified about that. But, so I have some little goals in here. And just a few little games and stuff. But I'm really using it more just to track whips and my new starts and the stuff that's in the front of this. The rest of it, you know, I'll kind of be playing with, but there's not quite as much data. There's no day-to-day detail in this one. This is really on a monthly basis. So I won't touch this one quite as frequently as the other one. But we're going to see what works between the two. And once I get a sense of that, I'll decide if I'm just going to stick with a pre-printed planner or if I'm going to create my own system for next year. I'm not sure yet. Chances are I'll probably go with a pre-printed, but I just want to see what works and what doesn't this year. So those are the planners. Okay. Then, and this is something that I actually use a lot when I film floss tubes. Every time I film a floss tube, I have a piece of paper, and this is the one for the river from Modern Folk Embroidery, and originally obviously came from 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. This is a project page. I have one of these for every single thing I work on since 2020, because that's the first year I started using these. And they are all kept in one binder while they are works in progress, and then when they get finished, they move to another binder, which is my finishes binder. I started doing this because I realized that I do want to keep a permanent record of everything I stitch. Not just for me, but, you know, my friend, I realized as my friend Sandy passed away, and then Carol passed away, and then Sharon passed away, who were all members of my local stitching group. Sharon kept a really nice little photo album of as many of her finishes as she was able to document. And I realized I really want to do the same thing. I love to journal. There's no reason why I shouldn't have a permanent finishes stitching journal. But it makes more sense for me to start it while I'm working on it. So these pages, the river I haven't done a whole ton on, so there's not a lot here. But like, if I make tweaks to it, which this one I won't, I can make note of what I changed. If I am working on it with a group or with a stitch along, I'll add in here. So like, for instance, this year it's in WhipGo. So I will put like WhipGo 2025 in here. Hashtags, if I use any hashtags on social media, any other random notes. And when I finish it, the plan is to get a photo of the finished piece here. That hasn't happened yet with my finishes, but that's on the planning phase. So the whip binder is, because I'm a child of the 80s, is this Trapper Keeper. I got it, you know, at Walmart like 2 years ago, 3 years ago during the back to school section. And, ooh, yes, that great 80s sound. So I have all of the current ones in here. And then in the back of this, I have blanks. This is the older style. This is the newer style. So I can run them off. I kept one of the olders. I'm still not sure whether I like this format better or this one, because I really don't use all the floss notes, but I guess if I changed them all, I would. So anytime I start something, I go right in here, fill out a page, put it in alphabetical order up here, and I know my start date, I know the fabric I'm working on. If it's part of a stitch along, it's in there. Everything gets noted down in here, so it's all together. And that one, and then conveniently labeled with whips on the side. When things get finished, they move to another Trapper Keeper. I know, there's a theme. This one is not as thick, partially because I have not kept everything here since I finished quite a few before 2020. But there's other records of that on my blog. So I'll probably eventually do sheets here for those two. But so like alphabets, I finished 2021 and put my notes on there. And again, these are in alphabetical order. When I've entered stuff into the fair, I have the review and the rules and all the comments I got on the piece. So I have a record of everything. And those generally get stuffed somewhere back there. So that's how I keep all my notes on my pieces. And anytime I set up for a FlossTube, if I'm going to be talking about specific pieces, their pages come out and get put on, like here I have my stack of whips and it's there, so I know I can talk about what I'm working it on, when I started it, that kind of stuff. All my little quick crib notes are right there. For a random aside, the whips in my room here, you can see I've got all my project bags there. There's a mess of hoops down there that I need to actually weed out a little bit. But all the whips get kept in these baskets back here. So they're easy for me to find. And I have a mess of all sorts of different project bags. I don't have any one type. I have, some of them are fabricy ones. Some of them are Amazon specials. Some of them are ones I've gotten in boxes from like Black Needle and other, mystery boxes I've ordered. Excuse me. The key with them is I always get ones that zip so that stuff doesn't fall out of them. And I have those inexpensive key fobs, and I keep the name of it on the side of the zipper, because especially with these, they can look so much alike that this way I don't have to open everything to figure out what is in them. So that's the quick rundown of how I keep myself organized. Okay, so my voice is feeling a little scratchy. I'm going to pause here for just a moment and grab myself a drink, since I'm at half hour, and then I will show you what I've been working on. So be right back. All right, I'm back. Hello. Tea has been made, voice rested for about 10 minutes. Today's tea is Earl Grey Citrus from Vindom. I got a advent calendar of tea from my friend Matt, who lives with Eric and I. And I didn't use it because I wasn't feeling real great, and I wanted to be able to enjoy. Some of these teas are a little stronger, and so it was like, I need to stick to the stuff I know will work for a head cold. But some really fun ones. So, and this one is very nice and citrusy. I didn't think Earl Grey was a green tea, but we'll roll with it. But, you know, what do I know? And I have one of my Uncle Matt's very pretty mugs. Yes, it's a peyote button. Kind of, that's part of his faith. But yes, my Uncle Matt makes these. Are they pretty? And it's the official tea mug. And the Kent family mugs. You can identify anyone in my extended family by whether or not they have a couple of these. All right, so let's go into what I've been working on. I finished one ornament for the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild Exchange. It was Counting Puddles Designs Snowflake Sheep. It's part of a trio of designs that are really, really cute that I got at Stitch New England this year. And I recorded a video for that to just show that off because I had to obviously send that off to my exchange partner who lived in Texas. And I'm going to show you that now. Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the 25th of November, 2024, and I am a couple days late with sending out my ornament for the Tudor Rose Exchange because I was waiting on a couple of finishing things, but it's done. It's currently my lunch break, so I'm doing a quick video to show it off, and then I am running it to the post office. So wanted to get this on video so I can attach it to a FlossTube next month and show you what I did, what I changed, and yeah. Before I show it, I am super happy about how this one came out. It's probably, other than my Biscornu ornaments that I do with Wentzler ornaments, this is probably the cleanest one I've ever had come out, and I'm totally doing this again. So, all right. So here's my ornament that I did for my exchange. Isn't it cute? This is called Snowflake Sheep from Counting Puddles Design, and it's one in a series of 3. I did the sheep. There's also a llama and a goat, and they all kind of run that same theme. So I did do a couple of little changes on this just because I wanted to stitch it from stash. And so the colors are a little different than the original one. They had it stitched, you know, in like the super bright B5200 white. I just used basic white. I used basic black. And then for the scarf, I did an over dye, which was either Color and Cotton or Classic Colorworks, I forget, called Cupid. And I figured if there's any time that you can let something stripe and not worry about it, it would be on a scarf. So the original was done in completely solid DMC. And once I'd striped the scarf, I decided I really didn't need to do the lacy decoration over it because it was going to get way too busy. And, you know, I passed that by a couple of friends just to double check, and they totally agreed. So there you go. I also, since I am a little bit phobic of French knots and don't like them, I don't know why. I used to be able to do them when I was a kid, but for some reason now I can't. I decided instead to create Christmas lights from random beads that I had in my stash. So that's what I did. And, you know, they're not perfectly aligned with where the French knots were, but I just kind of created a string of lights. And I mean, it's supposed to be tangled, so they can be a little messy. And I think it came out awesome. So that's my version. The fabric is called Winter Wonderland from Bestitch Me. It's a, let's see, what is this? A 32 count Lugana. I have a bunch left, and I'm fully planning on stitching this again for myself, plus the other two in the series on the same fabric. I might actually try finishing it the same way. The cord that I got, I had from Stash. I think I picked it up last year from either Joann's or Michael's. I can't remember which, but it was just a cord I had. And then I finished these using these really handy dandy forms. They're from Hands On Design, called Finishing Rounds. And they have a bunch of their own designs that use these and are of this size. And when I looked at mine, I was like, you know what? I think that will fit just perfect. So they are basically laser cut mat board rounds. They come 2 to an ornament. So if you're doing one ornament, you need 2. They come in a pack. The pack I bought was of 4. And I will probably stock up on these or stock up on mat board and trace my own, because this literally made putting this ornament together. It took about an hour and a half, and that's it. There is no interfacing. It's super simple. There's no glue. It's just hand stitched. So the way you do it is you kind of put your ornament around, you trim it around so you've got about a 1/4 inch around. Do a very loose basting, pull it around and cinch it tight. And then you just start lacing it back and forth just to make sure you don't have any bubbles of fabric around the edge. Okay. And then you do the same thing on your back fabric. Just do a loose basting thing, put it around, cinch it tight, and then just messily lace it until it looks like it's nice and even and tight all the way around. Put them back to back, and because these are laser cut and they're perfect circles, lining it up is a dream because they are exactly the same size. And then all I did was I found some floss that is the same color as this fabric. In this case, it was DMC 157, which is about as dead on as you can get. And then I just whip stitched it along the edge, putting the cord loop and then the start of the wraparound out. So I did the cord last. So I went around once first and put the ornament together, making sure that this loop was already there and the end was down here. And then all I did was I went around again using the same floss and just whip stitched it and attached it. And where my end meets is where I put the bells, so that it's just a little bit hidden from the front. From the back, there's just a little bit of a thing, but that's the back, so who cares, right? And that's the ornament, and literally took an hour and a half. No glue. So, super happy with this. This is on its way off to Texas. I'm also, just to include, because I always feel like, even though it's a smalls exchange, I want to include a little bit of something else. So I have a couple of pieces of DMC. There were a ton of extra stickers from Stitch New England on the tables. So I'm including one of the stickers that was there, which is Cross Stitch's Love Made Visible. And then 5 of my personal floss cards for her to use. And then of course a little Christmas card to say hi and happy holidays. So that is my exchange. And I will tack this on to one of my December videos. So see ya in about 2 seconds, although it'll be probably about a month from now for me. Bye. Okay, so that was that. That was my last finish of the year. I'd like to have more, but it wasn't a big finishing year. But I did a lot of work on I Love New England to get that ready for the end of the year. So I'm not complaining. that was the piece I wanted to finish, and I got done. Okay, other stuff I've worked on. Let me switch my pile here a little bit because I have things mixed up, and that is Whip Go. That is not for right now. All right. I have continued with the Mary Foch Stitch Along, which is being held through the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild. And we are on, I think we just had our 5th out of 8 Stitch Along dates. This piece will be available at Nashville Market this year. The designer is running with needles and scissors, and she's just wrapping up her stitching for this right now. But isn't it a pretty piece? By an 8-year-old. How do these little kids do this where I like struggle now? I don't get it. In any case, work is going slowly on it only because it's on 46 count. So I have to have like the right light to do this, but this is where I'm at so far. I am working this on 46 count oat from Fibers on a Whim, and it is stitched over 2, but as you can see, those are really, 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 really tiny stitches. Needle minders from Black Needle Society. The color palette, I don't have the project bag here, it's in the other room, but the color palette on this is a really pretty autumn palette. And so as you can see, I'm working this section right now. I'm currently focusing on getting the flowers in and setting up this border. I'll get the text in, and then I can really start working more of these bigger motifs later on. But so pretty. Love this piece. Like I said, this is with the Tudor Rose Sampler Guild. They will have another stitch along that will start sometime in the summer. I don't know what the piece is yet. I know it's been talked about, it's just slipping my mind. But if you go to Tudor Rose Sampler Guild, they are currently getting everything together for this year's upcoming talks during the meetings, the presentations, our 25th anniversary retreat in May, and just all the different projects and lectures and stuff that. So if you want a guild that you can attend from anywhere, because all of their meetings are from Zoom or over Zoom, they're the first Tuesday of the month. It's $40 a year. It's not expensive, and yeah, but that's through that. No timeline to finish that, but that will, when I need a break from doing And They Sinned on Sundays, Mary Foch will probably make some visits on my sampler Sundays. I made one start that was kind of an impromptu start, but only because I could get the thing from Stash. And this is from Witch's Garden Crafts on Facebook. And this is called Here We Come A-Wassailing. And I'm very sorry that I only have a black and white. It was, a digital pattern, and I printed off my copy. So, but that's what it looks like. If you join the Witch's Garden Crafts, there's a bunch of people who have finished it. It was released as a 5-part mystery. And I'm kind of bouncing around on it. I played a little bit of Fabric Chicken because I started it the wrong way on my fabric. I don't know why I do that. And I knew that this was longer than it was wider, and then I started it the wrong way on my fabric. But here is, so you'll see how close I am to the bottom edge. And if I just started it a little bit higher, but I used my corner measurer, and so I started 3 inches down like I always do. Yeah, I'm a little tight there. But this is Here We Come A-Wassailing. And it is in the called for DMC, except for instead of the B5200 white, that bright, bright, bright snow white, I just used regular white because that's what I had. Otherwise, it's all in the colors as called for. And that's how it looks. This is funky like that just because I realized about here. I was like, oh my God, I may have screwed up my count. So I just started running down to see if I would be able to fit it in. And if not, I was just going to alter this bottom row. But yeah, I made it with like, about a half an inch. So when I figure out how I'm going to finish it, I may have to like stitch on a little bit of fabric here just to give myself enough to work with, but we'll see when we get there. But yeah, a little stressful. This is on a piece of 28 count fabric. This is an old silk weaver from like 2004, 2005. So it's called Reflections. Of course, I didn't write it all down on the piece. But I believe it's called Reflections. And it is an opal. So there is, it's not coming up obviously. Oh, there we go. You can see the shiny. But yeah, I'd hoped to get this done, but again, just wasn't feeling all that great. So worked on it as I could, but this one I should be able to finish up pretty easily in the next couple of months and have this ready to go for Christmas next year. All right. So that's what I worked on the last few weeks of the year. Wasn't a lot because, again, was ill, was focusing on that, getting that ornament together, and then just the holidays as they happen. But then, so now we have starts for 2025. I am doing WIPGO this year, so I'll show you my January WIPGO. But first, we will do my New Year's start for this year. And this is a piece I picked up. I don't remember. It must have been an online thing, and I saw it for sale online and grabbed it. It's a limited edition, so I don't know if it's still available. But this is called Stitcher's Soul Journey from Twin Peak Primitives. And very simple little sampler. Nothing complicated. And it says, mend thy soul with needle and threads. And there's a few people who get together to do blessing samplers to bless their year. They start them and try to finish them in January. I'll do my best, but I don't see it completely getting done in January because I'm stitching all the things. But in any case, that is my New Year's start. And this is what I've gotten done so far as of the 3rd of January. I haven't worked on it today. But it's stitching up pretty quickly, and, especially all things considered that I'm stitching it on with white floss to start. But I didn't, with that red right next to it, I wanted to put the white in first so it doesn't pick up the red. So this is on 14 count Aida. I know I'm working on Aida. You always see me on high count, but this one's on Aida. 14 count Aida, it's called Gray Sand, and it's by XJU Designs, a completely new to me floss fabric dyer. It came in the kit. I don't know anything else about them, but it is a gray, and then it's just got like little blotches on it. It looks kind of funny up close, but I think once I get, it's not one of those colors I would have chosen, just because I'm like, ooh, what am I going to put on this? But I think once I get the project on it, it's really going to work. But this is how it came kitted up. So that's where that is, and I am still working on that as part of Semi-Sane Stitchers on Facebook. They're doing a snowball fight to start off the year where you do like 300 stitches and you get a snowball and you can throw it at anybody else that's participating, and then they have to do 100 stitches to recover from the snowball throw, and then they can go back to making their own snowballs. So that's why I'm getting stuff done on that one. So that was my New Year's start. That's the only start I've done so far. I do have another ornament I need to do, hopefully. For my local group, we're having our holiday party at the end of January. So probably Monday-ish, I'm going to grab something to start that I can stitch up quickly to have that ready to go for the 25th. I have chatelaine water garden to start once. I'm waiting for supplies to come in. I had ordered my fabric and the specialty flosses and beads from European Cross Stitch, since they do really good kits for chatelaines. But something's on back order to them. So I was like, I probably should have just ordered my fabric separate from somebody else so I could start the DMC part of it at least. Since I'm doing on an antique white, I decided to just do that, and ordered it from 123 Stitch on Tuesday. So it's shipped, so I should get it sometime in the next few days. And I'm planning for that to be my birthday start next Saturday, because I'm turning 50. Mentally, I'm 22. I deny anything after like 1994 has happened. But yeah, that's where I'm at. But yes, so next week is the birthday start. Chatelaine will be the birthday start. If for some reason I don't have the fabric by then, but I can't imagine that happening unless something with the snowstorms that are happening in the Midwest muck up everything that's shipping. If that happens, then my birthday start is going to be the Cloister Garden Fox and Rabbit mystery that just started this week. And I have that ready to go. So this is the fabric I'm using, and this is called Earnest from Fortnite Fabrics. And it's kind of a soft, I want to say peach, but it's not that bright. It's just kind of a pretty neutral. It does have a lot of modeling on it, but it will work very nicely. And this is 40 count, because I needed a piece from, my rule is this year I'm trying to do everything from stash. That chatelaine is an exception only because I absolutely need 28 count to be able to work the beads that are on it. And I had 32, but I don't want to work with scrunching beads. So that's my one exception for the year. And only because it's antique white, because you can always use antique white. Anyway, so this is from Stash. And then I'm going to be doing it all in one floss. And this is the floss. This is a Silks for You that I've had for years. This is called Hydrangea. I don't know the number. I lost the plastic bag it came in, but isn't it pretty? And it looks really, really good with this. So I'm going to do the whole piece in this and just let it pattern as it will. So that will be my water garden. That will be my cloister garden. Just a lot of gardens this year. So that will get started either next weekend if I don't have the chatelaine, or I'll probably start that during the first 24 hours of Cross Stitch Marathon, which is the following weekend, the 3-day weekend. And that's my plan. And as of right now, there's plenty of new starts, but as of right now, that's the only stuff that I definitely have like firm. It's happening. The other two things I'm doing this month are my Whip Go for January. And by sheer chance, it wound up being all modern folk embroidery this month. The two pieces I have going by Modern Folk Embroidery both got called the same month. So the first one is, I showed you the river. And I got this a while back in a black needle box. And then I started it at the beginning of 2023. This was my New Year's Day start in 2023. And then it just fell off a cliff. I think I worked on it for a day And that's all I did. So we're going to put 1,000 stitches into this month. That is the goal. Here is my fabric, and this is 36 count sterling linen from Picture This Plus. I had a scrap. Don't you love how it's completely uneven? But that's what I had left. So we're going to work on it this way. And I need to show you the floss because it came with the chart with the specific, here, work this and this. And it is just, look at this floss. Isn't that pretty? It goes from like this beautiful deep jadey green to kind of a muddled blue, and then there's like some light speckles of lighter blue in there. Oh, love this color floss. It's going to look so pretty. This is from Forbidden Fiber, and it is called River of Life, very appropriately. So that's one of the Whip Go projects for the month. And then the other one is, and you've seen this if you've watched my videos, you've seen this several times, is the Fruits of Plenty Modern Folk Embroidery. This was the stitch along in 2021. And I think it was a mystery that year. I can't remember. But it was, I know it was released in parts that year. So I'm kind of working it according to the monthly releases. But I am, where it makes sense to, I'm breaking over the monthly lines. This was my birthday start in 2021. And as you can see, this one's intense. There's a lot of stitching in this thing. I'm doing this in 2 colors. It is in DMC 800, which is the blue, and 840, which is the brown. And I have this on, again, checking the notes. 40 count Newcastle. It's Silkweaver Antique Ivory. I think it's a newer cut of Silkweaver, which I think now is Fabric by Jim. I think he just renamed it. But yeah. So that's what that one looks like. And the goal on each of these, as I mentioned, is 1,000 stitches during the month. But really, for Whip Go, as long as I get them in during the year, because springtime for me is really tricky. That's like my pure chaos time at work. So if I fall behind on stitching, then I'll get back into it in the summer. That's just kind of how it goes. As long as I get them in during the year, I'm happy. So those are my pieces going on. And yeah, this will be what, about an hour? Sorry for the slightly longer video. Yeah. So let's see, other things going on stitching for me. My plans this year, I'm going to blog a lot more about my stitching. I pay for having a domain. So I am planning on doing, like, even if I can't get to a FlossTube, my Misi.net blog is going to get updated every week. That I can promise you. So you can see what I'm working on, and then I can talk about it more here. I have plans to do 5 retreats this year. 2 of them will be in person and 3 will be virtual. I'm going to do the Stitching at Downton retreat by Black Needle Society in April. I am going to do the Frogwarts virtual retreat again in July. I'm going to go to Stitch New England in person in October, Stitching in the Farm up in New Hampshire in November, and then the Jingle Ball, which is virtual, in December. I may, if I kind of have a bit of a torn thing going on right now. I really want to go to the Tudor Rose 25th anniversary gathering, which is in May, mid-May. And the 17th of May is winding up being like this congregation of everything in my life that could possibly happen on the same weekend. So there's that down in Texas. Then my son has a karate tournament that same day up here, but it's not a belt test for him. So I'm kind of trying to decide, am I going to go away and just have my husband do the karate tournament, or do I need to be at the karate tournament? I'm kind of seeing where my son is on that. That same weekend is Celebration of Needlework up in Nashua, New Hampshire. Yeah, it's like everything is the same weekend. Fabulous. So if I can't go to down to Texas, if I can't make the finances work to do the flight down to Texas, then what I probably will do is my son's karate tournament, which will be in the morning, and then I can pop up to New Hampshire to shop and say hi in the afternoon, maybe stay the night one night there and do Sunday there. We'll see. Or if I'm exhausted because it's that time of year at work, I may just do the karate tournament and collapse. I don't know. I got to play a lot of stuff by ear. But definitely doing those 5 virtual and in-person retreats. I know that there's some more virtual retreats being held by Lindy Stitches this year that does Jingle Ball. Not sure yet whether I'm doing any of those. I may, but I got to see how schedules work for me. I do plan on doing the 24 hours of cross stitch marathons. Those, of course, I can kind of just do at home as I feel like it. The July one, I may just tie that into Frogwarts because it's like it happens the week after Frogwarts, and doing those back to back like that, I don't know if I can swing it. But then again, the marathon in April is the same way with Downton. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it all out. But those are kind of my plans for the year. And otherwise, reading books, writing pen pal letters, trying to relax a little bit, try to declutter a little bit. As I mentioned in my last video, I am allowing myself any starts this year that I want, guilt-free, as a celebration of being on this earth for a half century. I can start whatever the heck I want, whenever I want. The rule of thumb that I am giving myself is that the chart and the fabric needs to come from stash. Ideally, I will kit the floss from stash as best I can. And for a lot of projects, I probably can kit it completely from stash. But if I need to get like a couple of colors of floss, fine. That's fine. You know, I am not putting myself on a no-spend budget. I understand I'm going to spend things. If I put myself on a no-spend budget, that's the guarantee I'm going to spend more, because that's how my brain works. So if I need to pick up a couple of things to do a project, awesome. But the chart and the fabric absolutely have to be from stash. Chatelaine was the only exception because it's so big and needs very specific sizes of fabric, and I just didn't have it in my stash that I could pull it off. But everything else has to come from stash. So you will see a lot of starts from me this year. A lot of them are things that are actually already kitted, like fully kitted. Like I have everything ready to go. I just need to start it. So it's I have this ready to go. Let's just get it done. A lot of them are small projects from retreats. The Celebration of Needlework does these round robins where a set of 4 designers will come in with like a small, fully kitted for you. So I'm going to do those and try to just get those done. But I have bigger projects too that I've been wanting to start and that are kitted up and ready to go. So we shall see. But yeah, it's going to be a big chaos here. And I will be keeping a record of everything on the blog and as best as I can here on FlossTube as well. So with that, I will again say Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful year of 2025 stitching. I hope that I will meet some of you at various virtual or in-person retreats. If you see me, come say hi. I tend to be someone who's a little shy to approach others. But if you come say hi to me, yeah, I'll open up and you'll be like, who is this psycho? So please come say hi. And yeah, until next time, take care all, happy stitching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.